Hello everyone and welcome to All Sorts of Esports. This is another episode talking about League of Legends and what I think is going to happen this coming season and some just thought-provoking ideas of what I think about the season and just some things about it. So I'm going to talk about Dardoch, what I think about that, Krepo, why I think that he's going to be a top talent in Europe this coming season. I'm going to talk about why Cloud9 is barely going to be able to make the playoffs, and then I'm going to do some hot takes for 2018, which means these kind of crazy ideas that I think are going to happen in the League of Legends scene in 2018. So, starting off, we got Dardoch. Personally, I think Dardoch is a big mess right now. His whole reputation is messed up, and this team, I think, is going to be the last straw for teams looking for a jungler or looking for him in general. So I'm going to go over his past history a little bit and just show why I think this, because there's a big pattern in my opinion. So firstly, he started on Team Liquid. So this was a long time, but the end of it was recorded and shown on the Breaking Point show, which I hope you've seen, and if you haven't, I would definitely check it out. It's by 1UP Studios and the Team Liquid staff. It's all about how Dardoch just goes crazy on all his teammates, and his coach didn't help too much, Loco Doco, and he got Phoenix in there. And who else? You got Lorlo and Matt, who are just kind of freaking out, and you got Piglet as well. So a bunch of still big names in the LCS who are having fine careers, and he's the one who is kind of the problem child. So moving on from Team Liquid, he went to Immortals. This Immortals team, he only stayed on for one split, and that split they finished 7th place. There were some talk of behavior issues on this team, but it wasn't totally announced until they swapped junglers with Xmithie. So with this trade, Dardoch went to Immortals Dardoch went to CLG and Xmithie went to Immortals. So this swap came up huge, it looked like, for both teams. Because at the beginning of the season, because this is only this past summer now. This past summer, it looked like Immortals was doing fine with Xmithie. They finally found their way. And Dardoch was actually in the top 3, contending with, I think, Cloud9 and TSM. So what this meant was Dardoch was reformed, right? He's totally a great player. However, the halfway mark hit in the season, and it got a little deeper into the season, and the team was not happy. CLG started going down and down, and I don't know if the downfall created the angry Dardoch, or if the angry Dardoch created the downfall. So with this, I think it's very, very interesting that we saw this downhill slide in CLG's standings. So after CLG, he quit, he got kicked off. I don't exactly remember what exactly happened because you know that it's all just PR'd nice and dandy. So he went away from CLG and he went back to Team Liquid. So this was the team that they ended up finishing 7th, I believe, finishing 9th that season. So that means it just was not a good trade. Dardoch is not in a good place. He's had these constant behavior issues, and he's had this constant performance issue of him thinking he's really good and his teammates saying he's really good and him being very good mechanically, but he can't transfer that to the stage, which is very bad. So after Team Liquid placed 9th with Dardoch, Rick Fox came and saved the day and picked him up, right? In my opinion, no. So in my opinion, Huni in the top, he is just not going to play the style that Dardoch wants, and there's going to be some big fight, something bad happens. So I'm just going to go over some situations of what I think could happen with Dardoch's personality and with the personalities in the team and just who they are as a player and as a person. So Huni, like I said, is going to play something super weird and make Dardoch mad. And then you got mid lane, so you got the Scrim God Phoenix. Phoenix has always been a super good player in scrims, but he has not been able to transfer that to stage. And that is going to create a very tempered Dardoch and a very tempered team. So that could make them very uneasy when they're doing great in scrims, and then it doesn't translate to stage time. And then nextly, we got the bot lane. So Adrian has been known to not put in very much effort throughout his last few seasons in League, and this could really make Dardoch mad and the rest of the team because they're putting in a lot of time, a lot of effort. Huni just came off SKT, which is a lot of grinding, and Adrian just likes to go hang out with friends a lot and party and just not play League, which could be a problem. And then lastly, we got Altec. Altec has been a consistent person that I love his personality. I love his play style of what he does. He's that cleanup AD carry that is never the star on the team, but because he's never been the star on the team, he's kind of shifted teams. So just like Dardoch, he's kind of bounced to team, but for different reasons. So I think Altek is just going to be the quiet guy that kind of just watches it all around him, just kind of like Piglet did on Team Liquid. So my final thoughts, even if the team meshes well, I don't see them finishing anywhere above 4th place for the sole reasons that there's not anyone on this team, well, for the sole reason, singly, that there's no one on this team that's going to have like a surprise split. What I mean by that is we've seen all these players play multiple times, multiple seasons, multiple games, playoffs, everything. We've seen these players play, but we don't think they're going to do anything different. They're just going to be regular old North American Huni. They're going to be regular old Phoenix, regular old Altek. So someone either is going to need a breakout split of craziness, or they're just going to be the same old that they always are. Just like Dardoch being a behavior mess on a team. Next, we got Krepo. So Krepo was established in Belgium. He is currently 27 years old, which makes him in the scene for a very long time, since esports players usually start in around 17 or 18 years old. So he started on CLG EU, like that Froggen Wicked team that was really cool, and then we got Evil Geniuses. Then he went to Elements, and then he went to 2 seasons of Riot Games. So this was huge to get kind of that different way of thinking and different way of communicating ideas. And then he went on that secret splice coach kind of like campaign over there where he didn't tell anyone that he was helping splice out. And now he's coaching for FC Schalke 04 this coming season. And with this season comes so much history that I think it's going to be awesome. He has seen great growth in these positions that you can just reading that list shows just how much growth he's had as a person. And if you can figure out how to grow that largely as a person, you can help others grow as well. So I think he is a friendly enough person. He can stoop down, not stoop, but go down to their level and be a player for a little bit and figure out what it's like in their shoes, and they will respect him for that. And lastly, there's been so much years and years of talk about how smart Krepo is about player builds and item spikes. So with this, they won't have that awkward like temptation to think that Krepo is not as smart as them as players. He will get the respect right away because they know that he's been a player before. They know he knows the situation, and they know that he knows the exact description of what he's talking about. He's not just talking crap out of his mouth during practice. So I think he's going to be a top contender for Coach of the Year, even if that award doesn't matter that much, and he's just going to have an all-around good split this coming season. And lastly, why Cloud9 will barely make playoffs. So I'm going to make this one really quick because this video is getting a little too long. So I think that a star-studded Jensen will not be able to solo carry this team anymore. And what I mean by that is there's no impact, like stellar top lane tank player to help him be able to flash in and make these KDA plays that he's made all last year. But it also means that their team has changed a lot, obviously. So I think that they have 4 veterans. They got Svenskeren, Jensen, Smoothie, and Sneaky. Proven players that have played at extremely high levels. And then those 4 players, I think, will be able to carry that fire into playoffs. I don't think they're going to have that good of regular season just because they're trying to figure themselves out. And I think Licorice showed promise in the LCS, but I think he's going to take a little bit to work with Svenskeren because he's such a quiet player. But once they get into playoffs, I think they're going to roll out those best of 5s very well with those veteran players and be able to make at least a 3rd place match. And you can quote me on that in a few months now, that Cloud9 will make either finals or win the 3rd and 4th place match this coming like early summer, I think it is. So lastly, super quick, my hot takes for 2018 are Huni will be a mid-tier in all stats but jungle proximity. I think Dardoch is going to focus him heavily, but he's not going to be that great in CS. He's not going to have that great of KDA. He's not going to have a good kill participation or any of the other stats. I think he's going to be very mid-tier except for Dardoch camping him. Nextly, we got Schalke will have the best EU content for 2018. So even though G2 just came out with that super cool like villain-esque like video of just like we are Europe, like let's go, we're here to stay. I think Schalke has that classic feel because they're from a football team that they can just give off that persona in their videos, and they've already shown a lot as well. I saw a Reddit comment or Reddit post the other day that was like complimenting the stuff, and then I went to that page and it's amazing. There's a lot of very good content, so make sure to check that out as well. And then I also think FlyQuest's coaching staff will be top tier by the end of this split. So I think this is a very crafty guess because FlyQuest does not look like the best team, and FlyQuest coaches came from very diverse backgrounds and they have very different personas. So guessing that they will mesh together is kind of just a guess, but I'm pretty backed behind it, the little that I've studied about how much they'll collaborate and work together. And lastly, I think Jensen will come out as the second best mid laner again to Bjergsen. So this might be, that might not sound surprising, but if you see the stacked the stacked mid laners in North America this season, you will want to say that someone will beat Bjergsen or Jensen and kind of contend for that. But I think they're going to be the sole 1 and 2 again this coming split. And then lastly, we got kind of a warm take. I think Aphromoo is going to totally suck this coming season, and he's going to retire once they don't make it to Worlds this fall. I think he's a dying player, and it's just not looking good for you, Afro. I think he just went to 100 Thieves to get some money, but I could be wrong. And that is all I got. Make sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff. And we got a Vikings game this weekend, so I got some socks on, so Skol Vikings.